Welcome to our channel, lovers of the strange and seekers of the terrifying. You found your way here to the flickering firelight of our corner of the internet, where the shadows are long and the stories, well, the stories have teeth. Tonight we're leaving behind the flickering streetlights and venturing deep into the whispering isolation of remote villages. Places forgotten by maps, shrouded in mist and legend, where the old ways hold sway and darkness lingers just a little longer. We have 3 tales of creeping dread for you tonight, stories whispered around crackling fires and passed down through generations. So, lock your doors, huddle close, and let the shivers begin. Our journey begins high in the mountains, in a village cradled by towering peaks and veiled in perpetual mist. This is Oakhaven, a place where time seems to move a little slower, where the villagers still speak of ancient things best left undisturbed. For generations, the heart of Oakhaven has been haunted by the legend of Whispering Woods, a dense and ancient forest that borders the village, a place where sunlight struggles to penetrate the dense canopy, and the very air hangs heavy with secrets. The villagers whisper of a presence that lingers among those ancient trees, a being of immense power and unsettling stillness. They call it the Guardian, and it is said to be neither benevolent nor malevolent, but something far older, something tied to the very roots and bones of the earth. The old folks say that the Guardian watches, listens and waits. It remembers a time before the village, before the people, before even the mountains themselves. And those who dare to venture into its domain often return changed, haunted by a feeling of unseen eyes and an unsettling silence that seems to hum with a power beyond human comprehension. One man, a young woodcutter named Thomas, scoffed at these tales. He knew the woods better than anyone, spending his days among the towering pines, harvesting the forest's bounty. He saw no malevolence in the woods, only the quiet serenity of nature. But one cold November evening, as a thick fog rolled down from the mountains and shrouded Oakhaven in an ethereal silence, Thomas found himself drawn to the woods. He couldn't explain it, this pull, this almost magnetic draw toward the heart of the forest. He pushed through the veil of fog, his breath misting in the cold air, the silence around him almost deafening. The familiar sounds of the forest, the rustling leaves, the chirping insects were gone, replaced by an unnatural stillness. As he ventured deeper, the trees seemed to press closer, their branches twisting and contorting into grotesque shapes. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something ancient and unnameable. A shiver ran down Thomas's spine, and for the first time in his life he felt a flicker of fear. And then he heard it, a whisper, soft and low, just at the edge of his hearing. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, winding around the trees, carried on the back of the wind. He stopped, his heart pounding in his chest, his breath catching in his throat. The whisper came again, closer this time, and Thomas swore he felt a cold breath on the back of his neck. Turning slowly, he scanned the trees, his eyes searching the deepening shadows. There, in the distance, he saw it. A figure, tall and slender, its form shifting and swirling in the mist. It was neither man nor beast, but something in between, something ancient and powerful. Thomas stood frozen, his blood turning to ice in his veins. The figure took a step closer, and the whisper grew louder, more insistent. It spoke of things beyond human understanding, of time and shadows and the endless cycle of life and death. Panic surged through Thomas. He turned and ran, crashing through the undergrowth, his lungs burning, his legs screaming for him to stop. But he didn't stop, not until he broke free of the tree line and stumbled onto the outskirts of the village, gasping for breath, his clothes torn, his face pale with terror. He never spoke of what he saw that night, but the experience changed him. The lightheartedness that had once defined him was gone, replaced by a quiet solemnity. He never ventured into the woods again, his fear of the Whispering Woods and the being that resided within its depths forever etched into his soul. And so, the legend of the Whispering Woods lives on in Oakhaven, a chilling reminder that some places are best left undisturbed, some secrets best left buried beneath the weight of ages. Our next tale takes us deeper into the heart of darkness, to a village swallowed by time and shrouded in an almost palpable sense of dread. This is Black Hollow, a place where the sun seems to struggle to penetrate the oppressive atmosphere, where the shadows are long and the silence is broken only by the mournful cry of crows. Black Hollow is a place with a dark history, a place stained with the memory of tragedy and whispered to be cursed by a sorrow that clings to the very air. It is here in this forgotten corner of the world that we find the story of the haunted doll, a tale whispered in hushed tones by the village elders. A story that chills the blood and lingers long after the embers of the fire have died down. At the edge of Black Hollow, shrouded by gnarled trees and overgrown with ivy, sits an ancient manor. It stands as a skeletal reminder of a more prosperous time, its windows like empty eyes staring out at the village, daring anyone to approach. The locals say it's been empty for as long as anyone can remember, abandoned after a series of gruesome deaths. The manor, you see, is said to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl named Eliza, who met an untimely end within its walls. Legend has it that Eliza was a bright and cheerful child, the apple of her parents' eye. Her most prized possession was a porcelain doll, a gift from her late mother, a doll that Eliza cherished above all else. But Eliza's happiness was short-lived. Tragedy struck when a sudden illness swept through Black Hollow, claiming the lives of many villagers, including young Eliza. Her parents, heartbroken by the loss of their only child, buried her in the garden behind the manor, her beloved doll clutched tightly in her tiny, lifeless hands. It wasn't long after Eliza's passing that strange occurrences began to plague the manor. Whispers and giggles echoed through the empty halls, and the faint scent of lavender, Eliza's favorite fragrance, lingered in the air. The servants whispered of seeing a small figure darting through the shadows, a figure that resembled a young girl clutching a porcelain doll. One night, a maid swore she saw Eliza's doll perched on the edge of her bed, its glassy eyes staring at her with an unsettling intensity. Terrified, the maid fled the manor and refused to return. Others reported similar encounters, their stories fueling the growing sense of unease that had settled over the manor. The manor's master, driven to desperation by the unsettling events, sought the help of a traveling priest, a man known for his knowledge of the arcane and his ability to commune with the restless dead. The priest, sensing a powerful presence within the manor, agreed to help. He spent days locked inside the manor, praying and performing ancient rituals in an attempt to cleanse the house of Eliza's lingering spirit. Finally, the priest emerged, his face pale and drawn, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and pity. He told the manor's master that Eliza's spirit was indeed trapped within the house, bound there by her attachment to her beloved doll. The priest warned that Eliza's spirit, though seemingly harmless, was tethered to the mortal realm by a powerful force, her love for her doll. The priest, fearing what might happen if Eliza's spirit was disturbed, advised the manor's master to leave the house and never return. He cautioned that removing the doll would only serve to anger the spirit, unleashing a force that could consume not only the manor but the entire village. Heeding the priest's warning, the manor's master and the remaining staff abandoned the house, leaving behind all their possessions. The manor fell into disrepair, its once grand halls now home only to dust, shadows, and the lingering sorrow of a heartbroken child. Years turned into decades, and the legend of the haunted doll of Black Hollow became ingrained in the village's folklore. Children were warned never to approach the abandoned manor, lest they anger the spirit of Eliza and suffer her wrath. Some say that on moonless nights you can still see a faint light flickering in the manor's highest window, a beacon in the darkness that draws the curious and the foolish closer to the haunted halls of Black Hollow. And so the manor stands, a testament to the enduring power of grief and the chilling reminder that some bonds, even in death, can never be broken. Chapter 3. The Shadow in the Fog. Our final tale leads us to the edge of the map, to a windswept coastline where the sea meets the sky in a symphony of grey. This is Saltwind, a village where the air is thick with the smell of brine and the cries of gulls, a place where the people are hardened by the unforgiving sea and haunted by an ancient fear. For generations, the people of Saltwind have lived under the shadow of an unspeakable terror. a terror that emerges from the depths of the sea, cloaked in a shroud of fog and whispered to be the embodiment of the ocean's wrath. They call it the shadow in the fog, and it is said to be a harbinger of misfortune, a bringer of storms and sorrow. Its arrival is heralded by an unnatural chill in the air, a sudden drop in temperature that sends shivers down the spines of even the most seasoned sailors. The legend of the shadow in the fog is as old as the village itself, passed down through generations of fishermen and their families, a chilling tale whispered around crackling fires on stormy nights, a reminder of the sea's capricious nature and the unseen forces that lurk beneath its waves. The story goes that long ago, a fishing vessel named the Siren's Call set sail from Saltwind, its crew eager to reap the bounty of the sea. The Siren's Call was captained by a man named Jonas, a seasoned sailor known for his courage and his unwavering faith in the sea. But even Jonas, with all his experience and bravado, couldn't have anticipated the horror that awaited them on the open water. As the Siren's Call ventured farther from the shore, a thick fog descended, blanketing the sea in an impenetrable white veil. The air grew deathly still, and the temperature plummeted, the sudden chill cutting through the men's thick coats as if they were mere cloth. A sense of unease settled over the crew, a primal fear that gnawed at the edges of their minds. And then through the swirling mist they saw it, a monstrous shape, vast and undefined, rising from the depths like a nightmare given form. It was blacker than the fog itself, a void in the already oppressive whiteness, and as it drew closer, the crew could hear a low, guttural moan, a sound that seemed to vibrate through the very core of their beings. Panic gripped the crew. They scrambled for their nets, their harpoons, any weapon that might offer some semblance of protection against the approaching horror, but their efforts were futile. The shadow in the fog descended upon the Siren's Call, enveloping the ship in an icy darkness. The men screamed, their cries swallowed by the fog, their pleas for mercy lost to the howling wind. And then, as quickly as it had appeared, the shadow in the fog retreated, melting back into the mist, leaving behind only the chilling silence of the open sea. The Siren's Call was never seen again. No wreckage was ever found. No survivors to tell the tale of what happened that fateful night. But the legend lived on, whispered from sailor to sailor, a chilling reminder of the unseen horrors that lurked beneath the waves. Some say that on the anniversary of the Siren's Call's disappearance, when the fog rolls in thick and heavy, you can still hear the faint cries of the lost sailors, their voices carried on the wind, a mournful chorus swallowed by the vastness of the sea. And so the people of Saltwind live with the legend of the shadow in the fog, a constant reminder that even in the most familiar of places, darkness can lurk just beyond the veil, waiting for the opportune moment to reveal itself, to claim those foolish enough to venture too far from the safety of the shore. And there you have it, brave souls. 3 tales of terror from the forgotten corners of the world, whispers of darkness that remind us that even in the quietest corners, shadows linger. If you found your skin crawling and your heart pounding just a little faster, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more journeys into the abyss. And if you dare, share your own encounters with the unknown in the comments below. Until next time, sleep tight. If you can.